Premier League football returned with such a bang, and on behalf of the Soccer Betting News team, we hope you had a Merry Christmas and enjoy your Happy New Year to come. Josh, let's get straight into it then. We saw the Premier League return with a London derby. Brentford were in action against Tottenham, Brentford taking a 2-goal lead, and then of course Tottenham doing what they've been doing best over the course of the season actually, and is that coming from behind to salvage a point?
Look, you can give them credit from coming behind. They've done it time and time again this season. This time it didn't work out for them. And I think it can be looked at as a good way, but it shows that they just lack a bit of. Yes, in this football game, there's a lot of tactical winners, but it looks like in the grander scheme of things, they lack a lot more tactically.
Yeah.
When they do go behind, then they just throw everything at the fixture, and that could cost you even further. But Tottenham, for me, they not a great team to watch. Brentford made the game very exciting for me. And if a team goes ahead against Tottenham, then the game, livens up. But if Tottenham go ahead, then you can just change the channel.
From what I've seen on social media, that there could be some positives. In fact, some could argue that it's positives or negatives depending on how you look at it. But Brentford were in decent form before the World Cup break. Of course, they beat Manchester City at their own home grounds before the World Cup interval. And then, of course, they've only lost just once at home all season, and that was against league leaders Arsenal. So perhaps it was a good point for Tottenham.
I'm not in that camp. Sorry to say to all those Tottenham fans out there. Yeah. If you are going away to a team like Brentford, with respect, they are playing extremely well, like you just mentioned. But if you are spending big money on players like we just saw in this last window, if you're playing in the Champions League, you bring in managers like Conte who want to win things for the club.
You're still in the Champions League places, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to remain there first and foremost. But when you're going to teams like Brentford, with respect again, those are the 3 points that you have to take. It's not a good point for them. Yes, obviously they didn't lose, but it's not a good point for them.
Tottenham now, with that point, 2 points dropped, it does open some ground between them and Newcastle, who are absolutely fantastic against Leicester City. Leicester City, I thought, were going to offer much more in that fixture. They were in decent form, actually, before the World Cup break. But I think Newcastle, we saw dare I say, title-chasing Newcastle United.
Alan Shearer would definitely agree with that one. But no, not title racing.
Not for you?
Not for me. Yes, they're playing exceptionally well from defense to midfield to attack. They build from the back first. I think I'd like to believe that that's where you need to start. Build a good base to work forward on. Newcastle are playing exceptional. That third spot looks yes, it's not even halfway through the season yet. But with the current momentum that they've been able to build, we know it's the January window now. They have the money to spend, and they've been doing it frugally. They haven't been spending 100 million on players. There's a clear structure, clear projects. I think that third spot looks like it's going to be theirs, if not fourth. So, being in the Champions League for a team like Newcastle, that's a big achievement. And looking at you mentioned Leicester, I was expecting them to at least get a goal. We know that they score. They're always great on the front foot. Maybe missing James Maddison is a big blow for them. But defensively, we know they'll concede.
Yeah. Speaking of that top four and trying to get in, one team always used to being in the top four, at least over the past couple of years, is Liverpool. Of course, things have gone differently for this season, but there could be an upturn in form. They were quite impressive against Aston Villa, inflicting Unai Emery's first defeat. Liverpool, can they make it? Is it too late in the season? Surely not.
Liverpool, it's for me, it's so, for most people, it's so hard to pinpoint one problem that's wrong. They've got a lot of injuries from front to back, although the defense seems to be coming together now. We've got Matip back in alongside Virgil, who had an great World Cup rather. Trent is there. Robertson's finally back. We saw the quality that he brings against Aston Villa. But I think that the new ownership structure, that always takes a toll on every club when there is a swap over. We look at Chelsea, for example. Liverpool are going through it. Manchester United might be going through it. We don't know just yet. But for them, it is difficult. So we don't know where that money is coming from for players like Cody Gakpo, which I think they did strike a very good deal. It wasn't the amount that I was expecting. So well done to them. And then also they've still linked with the front runners for players like Jude Bellingham, who they need to get. Liverpool need a new midfielder. They haven't signed a midfielder for, I think, somewhere around five years. Liverpool, for me, front runners for that fourth spot. Not to say that they'll get it, but definite front runners. They have the players like Mohamed Salah, who have been consistent
Previous
over the last
Golden Boot
years.
winners, yeah.
Yes, definitely.
I think one team or one fan base that will argue that is Manchester United. They, of course, moved to within a point of fourth place Tottenham with their 3-0 win over Nottingham Forest. But it's 1 point off the top four with the game in hand. And you look at the upward trajectory that they've been taking under Erik ten Hag. It's, I think, complete contrast to Antonio Conte, where you don't really know. I think with Erik ten Hag, you can see the plan and what he's trying to do. And I think now with Cristiano Ronaldo out the way, it might have caused a distraction. I know it might not be what everyone wants to hear, but the distraction of Ronaldo's gone now, and they have the top four and European spots to compete for.
Look, Manchester United, you can't rule them out. You can also see a clear project from them. Not so much from Liverpool, but you can see a clearer project from Manchester United at the moment. You could probably put them up there with Newcastle in terms of what we're seeing from the board to the players that they're buying. Yes, they are spending a lot more. For me, players like Anthony haven't hit the ground running. Maybe not the player that everybody thinks he is. But you have likes of Rashford with Ronaldo out the picture, someone who can be not a focal point as in a front man, a striker, but a focal point for the squad, someone to take them forward for the rest of the season. There is still a January window for every team, obviously, but they've lost one already to Liverpool. We saw Ten Hag in the press conferences smiling when asked about Cody Gakpo, and now he's somewhere else. And you can't sleep on that. I mean, we see that how Lisandro Martinez, there was an interview with him recently. He was going to sign for Arsenal rather, and Ten Hag gave him a little call, and he came through. So the play with Liverpool acting so quickly on Cody Gakpo, United need to wake up. They know that there are some areas that they need to fill, and you can't rely on Anthony Martial. Yes, he had a great game against Nottingham Forest, but United fans need to accept that Martial is not the one.
Well, he is the one leading the line for now until Manchester United do business in January. Of course, they'll have to chat to a player for 6 months in advance to get a deal done, but that's just the way they do their business. One team I want to discuss, Graham Potter's Chelsea. I don't really know what you make of them. Whenever I see them, I just think, what is going on here? Because you look at the team that played in the previous game compared to the team that played like in the game that you're watching now, and it looks like two different teams. And I don't know if Graham Potter's got his best lineup or if he even knows his best lineup, because I saw Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, a fully fit Aubameyang at that, sitting on the bench. Kai Havertz leading the line, performed impressively, so perhaps justified with the goal and assist, but I just don't know what's going on there.
I don't think that there's a clear vision at the moment for Chelsea Football Club. Yes, they got new ownership, they've got new players in the board, new board of directors, and they're filling in those roles. But I don't think that the collective has come to an agreement, okay, this is the way that we're going forward. I feel like they have agreed upon, Todd Bowley's man is rather Graham Potter. If he doesn't make top 4, he'll still be there next season.
If he doesn't make top 6.
If he doesn't make top 6, I mean, he probably will be there next season.
If he doesn't make top 8.
We could probably get somewhere to around top 10. If he makes 10th, there'll be a fire in his bum, but I think he'll still be there next season.
So it's just bottom half.
It's just, if he makes bottom half, I'm sure he'll get the sack. But Chelsea, yes, they bring in players like Christopher Nkunku. They're still attracting big name players, so to speak, in the world of football.
Linked with João Felix.
They still have a bit of pull, but the players also have to be aware that they might not play more than likely won't play Champions League next season.
Is that what you foresee?
I don't
Chelsea
see
out of Europe.
I don't see Chelsea in Europe. When we say Europe, we mean the UEFA Champions League.
I mean
across
in any competition.
Conference League.
Yeah, I'm asking. That's the question I'm asking.
Maybe they'd make Conference League this season.
Let's touch on the league leaders. We saw them in action against West Ham in the London derby. Arsenal claiming a 3-1 victory over the Hammers. Even at 1-0 down, I thought as an Arsenal supporter, I'm sure you felt the same way, that there wasn't any panic. It was just, Arsenal played really well in that first half, despite trailing at half-time. And then to win the game 3-1 so convincingly, so emphatically, maintaining that lead, ensuring that they kept their 100% home record intact.
Look, Arsenal are playing some beautiful football at the moment. I don't know, you might not have been panicking. I was panicking. Luckily, I wasn't in the dugout and Mikel Arteta was there. Luckily, I wasn't on the field and those young players were there because they have the mental strength to go forward and come back from a one goal down. Yes, they looked excellent in that first half. They came out and they played consistent. They played the same way with a bit more of a penetrative nature towards West Ham, and they got the goals exceptionally well. The first one,
Little bit of luck.
We know that Odegaard shanked his shot, but look at that
What
first
an
touch
assist.
on the
Come
weak,
on. What an
that on that
assist.
weak foot and calmly slotting it past Fabianski.
Yeah.
You could also argue that Fabianski in that second goal, that's his front post. For goalkeepers, you know. But for Martinelli to find that space there and see it, kudos to him. And finally, I was so happy for Eddie Nketiah. That turn, if that was Gabriel Jesus, we know everybody on social media, not just Arsenal fans, would have been saying, hey,
not just social media,
newspapers, everything.
radio.
He would have been on the front, you know, taking Arsenal to the title. Oh, can they do it again, you know? Eddie Nketiah, I think he can kick on for Arsenal this season. I'm not saying that they shouldn't go out and try and get a striker or a forward player, so that there is more options up front. But if Arsenal can stay fit, if they don't lose Partey, if they don't lose Odegaard was exceptional, if they don't lose players like Bukayo Saka even, they can go on and take the title.
Lastly, one team I do want to discuss, Manchester City. Just when you think that Brentford got to pull the wool over their eyes before the World Cup break, and this could be Arsenal's time. Perhaps you're being optimistic as Arsenal supporters. They go and show the fight that they showed against Leeds United. I mean, away from home to do what they did. It's not easy, and we've seen the fight that Leeds can show throughout the season. Manchester City, are they back?
I don't think they went anywhere. Manchester City are always there. I think Liverpool fans have trauma from that. And I feel like the Arsenal fans are slowly realizing the same thing. City have depth in all areas of the field. They have the best manager in the world, in my opinion. Yes, they might focus on the Champions League this season more than most. But it's Man City. Even if they play their second string side in the Premier League, they're not going to lose more than 2 or 3 games. Maybe every game Arsenal fans or most of the Premier League can hope that they lose, but more often than not they won't. They show their class all the time.
Will this title race go down to the wire? Will we only know who's winning the league truly in May?
I'd love for it to be that way. It makes it exciting for the general viewer. You don't have to be a Man City fan or Arsenal fan. I enjoyed that title race last season with Liverpool and Man City. So I'd like it to go down to the wire. But it's going to be extremely tight one. Like I mentioned earlier, if Arsenal lose some players, I think it might be over for them. They have to stay fit. They have to stay focused, and they're doing so. So we can't knock them. I think it will go maybe beginning of May. We'll see.
Arsenal to win it in April. You heard it here first from myself, Jesse Nagel, as well as Joshua Gaillard thinks it's going to be done in May, but Arsenal to do it?
I'm on the fence though.
Cards close to his chest. Josh, wishing you and your family a happy new year. Same to you, our viewers out there, whether you're watching at home or at work. Nobody's really working this time of the year, but wherever you're watching it, happy new year. Josh, until next week then.
Cheers.
For more soccer betting tips and previews, get the latest copy of Soccer Betting News for only 10 Rand at your nearest Hollywood Bets branch or news agent.